Of the IRNA. We say good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
How are you today?
I'm good, thanks.
And you're staying warm?
So far, so
good.
Yeah.
You did not crawl back into bed under a stack of blankets for another 16 minutes this morning, huh?
Did not. Too much work to do today.
Well, that being the case, Indiana Regional Medical Center presented their offer on Saturday morning. You've had a couple of days to digest, to react, and last night presented your counter proposal. How do you feel about the way the negotiations are right now?
That's correct. We did present our counter to IRMC's offer. And first of all, I just want to make sure to clarify the January 31st deadline is not a legally enforceable deadline here. What that is a date that the hospital has given us that they would like to ratify a contract by. Of course, we would have liked to have ratified a contract far sooner than January 31st, but the nature of bargaining is what it is, and we will continue to negotiate until we can reach a deal that is fair for our members. So that January 31st deadline that was provided in that release that you read earlier, I want to make sure your listeners understand that is a deadline that's kind of created by and created by the hospital administration. That's not a deadline under the NLRA, the National Labor Relations Act. That's a deadline that the hospital has created and wants to stick to. That's not any kind of enforceable deadline. We would like to continue bargaining, like I said, until we can reach a settlement that's fair for our members.
Do you think a settlement is any closer today than it was a week ago?
Well, we'll see. I mean, you're right. We did present some in our counter offer. We presented some concessions when it came to wages. We are, again, looking to compromise, and I think there's still room for movement, certainly from the hospital side. And what we presented last night, the hospital has not responded to formally, but they said that they would review it, and then they will reach out to us at some point with their response. So we're hoping to get some additional bargaining dates. That would be the goal of the union, again, to continue bargaining until we reach a contract that's fair for our members.
Those of us who, of course, are on the outside of this whole process and observing and reacting to the announcements as they come out, we wonder about possible future actions. Has a labor stoppage been contemplated by the union at all?
Right now our focus is on getting a contract that's fair for our members. It would be our right to strike, as far as what we're entitled to as far as labor actions. We have the right to strike as a union, but our goal, again, is to remain focused on getting a contract that's fair for our members. In some of the terms of the last proposal that was outlined in the hospital's offer, what they're calling their last best final offer, the healthcare increase, the cost for our members, the increase in cost for our members regarding healthcare, is just something that we feel that the hospital can do better on. In some cases, it would put they're trying to shift a lot of the cost from the employer to the employee for the same plan that they currently have. So what we're looking at in the most severe cases would be for some of our members who are on a family plan. If they're part-time, their family plan would increase by over 200% in the cost for our members to have a family plan, and that's for a PPO. Now, they currently have two health care plans, a high-deductible plan and a PPO, and some of that increased cost that our members would see, it's astronomical, and it's not something that is matched by the proposed wage increases. So that's certainly an area where we're trying to move much closer on, and we think that there's room on the hospital side for some movement.
The hospital has, in the past, said that basically what they're asking the nurses union to pay for health care is the same sort of package that is being paid by other employees at the hospital. What is your response to that?
My response is we're not bargaining for other employees here. We're bargaining for the nurses. This is the contract negotiations between the nurses and the hospital. I think the hospital may be trying to implement some things that they have already done so for the rest of the house. But the fact of the matter is, this is a negotiation where we're representing, more than 360 nurses here. So naturally, our contract is going to be the priority of bargaining. We understand that the rest of the House may be looking closely to the way that our negotiations are going. But at the end of the day, we're bargaining for the nurses, and the hospital needs to understand that what they can do for some non-union employees may be different in circumstances than the way that they can treat the bargaining process with the nurses.
Annie Briscoe is with us from the Indiana Regional Nurses Association.
Yes.
Let me get that straight anyway. And she has been talking about a negotiation session that was held last night, and of course the whole negotiation process that began so many months ago, and trying to make progress.
Yeah, when you look at it, we're only about 12 weeks out of the contract expiration. So yes, we've been bargaining since August, but the contract only expired October 31st. So we certainly think there's still room to move. We certainly think there's still time to negotiate to get a fair deal.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that sometimes we hear the deadlines, we hear things like contract expirations and working under the terms of their former contract, and we as a public might tend to say, boy, this is getting into a desperate situation. But really, it's a time for calm negotiation, isn't it?
That's what we hoped for.
Yeah, okay. Anything else we need to share with our listeners this morning?
I think that's all for now, but I do appreciate your time.
It is our pleasure. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye now. There's Annie Briscoe, the IRNA, the Indiana Register.